So basically what happened was that Silvi created this event called, I believe, V-Unity Summer Live, which was like, you know, had a lot of like singers involved in it. It involved like a lot of other VTubers. And so what happened was that Lady, aka, you know, False's co-host, she had a segment here where she talked about the V-Unity thing. So let me do this.
PFP is melting as they participate in this V-Unity Summer Live alongside other VTubers for an unforgettable concert at Animathon. As PFP host, Silvi did such an amazing job. I was so proud to have been part of this concert. Please go give them tons of love and support and get hype for their new original song coming soon.
So, you know, that's what Lady covered over on the on False's channel, which in my opinion is very normal. You know, she covered the event very briefly, talked about how it was a good event and everything. And the issue, the main and only issue that I think is valid here is that they forgot to credit her in the description. That is completely valid. But basically, Silvi had a complaint here. It says, the way you reported on V-Unity Summer Live was very disrespectful. I guess it's not dramatic and negative enough for you to cover properly, as you didn't even bother to credit me and didn't put a link to my Twitter in the description of your video, despite covering my concert that I organized and discussing my event, however briefly. This concert was the result of months of hard work and was organized, planned, and paid for entirely by myself. All the singers had to do was submit their vocals and participate in posting some promotional graphics, which I also made for them. I wanted the concert to be something positive for the community to enjoy, and despite it being a fairly large event featuring 22 VTubers, you decide only to mention it in passing after the concert has already happened and through the tiny lens of reading one of the singer's Twitter quote retweets about it. The way this was reported on was, in my opinion, very disrespectful, and I understand that it's what your news channel and you can do whatever you like with it, but I don't appreciate the lack of credit given in this instance, despite the fact this event was entirely created by me. Do better. She got like a lot of support during this because people are like, everyone's just like, oh, well, as a participant, I know how hard she worked. You know, you should get you should get, you know, more. You should get credit where credit is due. I will say that I'm semi-ish neutral on this because I did eventually see False's video about the Silvi situation. So basically what happened here is that she did not DM False about asking for credit. She did not handle this privately first. She just initially just went ahead and made a tweet about it. Not exactly the ideal way of handling things. In my opinion, she should have tried to contact False first to be like, hey, can I get credit? But in False's video, he does have a 17-minute video, like segment in his video to essentially cover this situation. He does not address this on Twitter, or at least not before the video. My opinion was not the best thing that he should have done. So here he gets some DMs that some people have sent him from Silvi's public Discord, so where, you know, she's asking people to like and retweet so that maybe they'll see it and fix this somehow. This is from someone else. It says, I think a private DM to them will say they don't fully credit you. It'd be better than blasting them with a tweet. I do actually agree with this. And then she says, they would just ignore my DM, and the things they said in the video itself are what I have more of an issue with, which can't be fixed easily. They deserve to be put on blast. This isn't the first time they've done this sort of thing. IDK, I don't care if it means they never report on my events ever again. They already didn't and didn't really report it on it now either. I'm sick of not standing up for myself in situations like these. I deserve respect and for my work to be respected. They should know better. In my opinion, I can kind of sympathize with why she would think someone as big as False wouldn't really pay attention to her DM because, you know, people have this conception that, like, you know, someone's really big, they shouldn't reach out to them because it might bother them, might get lost, and sometimes it does. You know, sometimes it does. Even I'm sometimes bad with getting back to DMs and stuff like that. But in my opinion, she should have probably just tried to do that first. And then she said that's why they deserve to be blasted publicly. You won't see many VTubers say anything about the situation either, I'm sure, because they'll get put on this blacklist of people not to cover. False reached out and then he said, just as update, we have updated the description on your video to include your link. And then she says, she basically just goes on basically saying, like, it just seems like she wanted more recognition for her, how much she put into the event, which is, like, I guess fine. But I think the issue with the way that False and, like, how his channel presents things is that they always do things pretty much on the surface. Like, anyone who's watched False's videos kind of knows that when he covers certain things, he doesn't go into detail unless it's corpo. If it's corpo, he will actively go and like, get pretty into the details. But if it's not corpo, everything's literally on the surface. Some people have issues with that, but like that's literally what he does. So I don't know why she wanted to expect more from him, because that's not what False does from my perspective. But he is like someone with a big platform, and if he says like the good things, it's better than always focusing on drama. But pretty much only False is known for drama. So like and then Silvi had this when False came in to say that it's been updated. This is all they said. Thankfully you're credited in the video. Literally, where then? And then she said, yeah, I don't care what False's fanboys say. You can obviously tell she does not like False, which is, everyone has their opinions. You are allowed to have them. And then False later DMs her saying like, someone sent us a D threat. Please go ahead and address this in order to curb the hostile and threatening comments. Silvi basically says like, I'm not sure what you want me to do. All False said was that he wants to wants her to disavow the hostility that's crossing the line. And he's like, consider his safety and safety of his host and whatever. I think personally that's a little bit extreme, but and then she said, why should it be my job to police a random Twitter guy in defense of you who has most likely caused more D threats to be incited against others in the community than probably any other VTuber out there with your reporting? Don't sit up on your high horse and condescend to me about what I should disavow. The most I will do for now, unless the situation changes, is hide that one reply. I don't condone D threats against you, but one single threat from a random is hardly enough to make any sort of statement, especially considering you've yet to bother with any sort of apology towards me about your poor reporting. Oh, look, it was already reported and deleted before I even had to do anything. Which, like, there's always gonna be this one weird guy who's gonna take it to the extreme, and nothing that she said in her original call out was encouraging that. He do him. And then, but like the way that she kind of went about it seems kind of rude. So, she says like I said, one random guy sending you a D threat that got removed fairly quickly is not my problem and also not my fault. I don't control the actions of others, and I did not incite any violence towards you in my own post or in my comments underneath, nor to my community, either publicly or privately. I'm 100% sure others have received D threats as a result of your reporting. I haven't seen any personally because I don't watch your trash content. Please don't message me again regarding this issue unless it's to send a proper apology. I do not feel sorry for you, and I don't regret what I said at all, and don't appreciate your threats of having to cover it supposedly clear things up. Oh boy. She could have handled it with a little bit more tact, but also I'm pretty sure she wasn't expecting False to use these in a video. I don't know if he got permission to. He never said he got permission to, but considering he decided to make a video instead of just responding on Twitter where the accusation came from, because as far as I know, Silvi does not have a presence as big as False on YouTube. So the fact that False brought it to YouTube to put her on blast is kind of whack. Here's my issue with both of these. So I think both of them are buttholes in their own different ways, essentially. Because okay, hold on. Let me do the conclusion part. The conclusion part is they both had a statement where they went ahead and say, we do not encourage any form of harassment and disavow all these things. We're gonna agree to settle things down privately in DMs, and no hard feelings, etc., etc. So this is Silvi's statement. False has a very similar statement as well. Thank you all for the massive amount of support over the past few hours, especially towards the co-host, blah, blah. We've been, we fully disavow any all harassment, and we're going to sell this privately. So they both had a statement here. So my opinion out of this whole situation, my issue is that Silvi, first of all, should have tried to resolve this privately. Should have tried to reach out to him first to be like, hey, I noticed that I wasn't credited in your video. Can I get credit? And then instead of just immediately go on blast on Twitter, which, but I also can sympathize that because she does not seem like a fan of False's content, that she does not seem to be comfortable with wanting to do that. I can understand why she took the action that she did. So but the best way to have resolved this is to have just tried to DM first, and then if he failed to do it in a timely manner, then go ahead, put him on blast on Twitter, whatever. That would be the ideal way to handle the situation. Of course, everything hindsight 2020, all those fun things. Second of all, False should not have made a 17-minute segment on his freaking channel about this. Literally 17 minutes and 30 seconds on Silvi's situation. That was unnecessary. Completely unasked for. This happened on Twitter and isn't even a corpo issue. And like, here's my thing. If False can't handle being criticized on Twitter, all Silvi did was criticize False and like, you know, managed to catch him out on one oopsie doopsie. That's it. And for the most part, she was just overall criticizing him, as many others do. I don't think this is the first time that False has commented on his criticizers. I believe he has done one in the past as well, with this one person named like N Binted or something. They absolutely hate False. And like, okay, I can understand not liking False. I can understand all that. But here's the thing, like, False is definitely not a perfect person. He definitely does not seem to appreciate criticism very well. And especially if his response to being criticized on Twitter is to put this person on blast and then on his channel, where a lot of people here obviously watch False's content and they're all just like, yeah, you know, mean girl, I don't like drama, proceeds to start drama, all sorts of things. And like, I do feel like both people here are at fault, because False, if he wanted to address this, he should have addressed it on the platform, because he has a platform on Twitter, you know? Yeah, I don't think they're bad people. They just handled the situation bad. And in my opinion, Silvi should have DM'd first, tried to handle things maturely. False should not have made a 17 minute 30 second segment on Silvi in this situation. Completely unasked for. Showed DMs, showed screenshots from her Discord server, which, you know, it is supposedly a public server, so technically it is public, but it's also kind of weird, you know, just what I feel. But he should not have done that. And I mean, I guess now they're resolved, but it should have just stayed private in the first place. So in my opinion, both people here are buttholes in their own right. Yeah, like, I think because, like, you know, on his platform, he also gets like consecutively over 100,000 views and all that thing, all that. So he has a dedicated platform here who like really likes him, and I think he knows he's hated on Twitter. I think because a lot of people do not like False on Twitter. It's really interesting. After his video came out, this came from somebody named Synph, who says, "This is a PSA for VTubers and fans, so please share it. Okay, False ID has spies who will dig into everything you have done. They will go through your Discord to find anything that can be twisted into a narrative and used to intimidate you. They'll find out who your friends are." Also, by the way, keep in mind, 10,000 likes. 10,000 fucking likes. 1 million views. I'm being for real, you guys. False has a dedicated community who freaking hates on him on the daily. I can see both the good and the bad that False has done, but I also think the crazy hate campaign against him is actually kind of wild. I am just a neutral person here. I literally am just sitting and observing, and I have no horses in this race, okay? I have 0 horses in this race. Because, like, I do think False has good coverage of things that matter when it comes to corpo drama. Sometimes I think he does exaggerate a bit, but I think he definitely does not have, in my opinion, the best journalistic integrity. But that's also why I will say this. I am not a journalist. I never will be. I will never be a reporter. I am not a journalist. I am somebody who likes to look at shit and and talk about my thoughts with the evidences provided. And I'm just a person with opinions. That's it. That's it. I am not. That's why I won't cover exclusive content kind of things. Like, that's why I basically make a point to not do private interviews. I won't accept private stories. I am just somebody who wants to observe from the silence and be like, oh, look at that person. Oh, look at that person. Oh, this is what both of them had to say. Well, in my opinion, you both tend to be buttholes. You know, like, I don't want to get involved more than that. I just want to be a person who observes and then gives my opinion after showing both sides. Ideally, both sides. Sometimes you can only show one side because one side refuses to talk about it. And then I like to have my take on it. I am a commentary channel, not a new news channel. Also, if you want news, you are coming to the wrong channel. I do not give news right off the press. The closest you're gonna get to that is these streams. These are the closest you're ever gonna get to me talking about things that happened recently. I give up trying to keep on top of content. Just fuck it. That's what these streams are for now. So I keep on topic here. I love that you're neutral. Thank you. Well, I'm not like exactly neutral. I have my opinions. There are some people I don't like, but I feel like it depends on the severity of the crime. False being in general a flawed person is not a crime. It's just the unfortunate happenings of what happens when he was literally the only person who reported on stuff for the longest time and has built his following off of that. Now that there's more other people also covering stuff, like in the commentary space and things, now he has competition. And now other people are getting recognition, myself included. So, you know. But False still has his niche of corporal bullshit drama, so whatever. Really started hating Niji when his video about Vox docs was struck down by them. Yeah, I heard something about the Vox docs. I literally don't know anything about it, but yeah, he fucking hated Niji Sanji ever since then. Like, he went down the war path once Niji Sanji struck his channel down. But in my opinion, maybe you should do stuff that relates to doc stuff. I don't know. Unless it's commenting doxing is bad. But that's not hot takes, so... Weather reporter Saph when in today's weather it's 84 degrees Celsius. Oh, wait. I think everyone would be dead if it was 84 degrees Celsius. First time I heard of False when he was hypocritically criticized Kyo for clickbaiting, but both are hated on Twitter equally for that. It makes me laugh. Right? That's like the first time I ever heard False getting to drama was him versus Kyo. And also keep in mind, he also posted that on YouTube. But I don't think he ever made that on Twitter. But honestly, everyone who hates False hates Kyo too. I once again am neutral. I have no horses in this race. I think False and Kyo should just have kissed live on camera instead of slapbox and in fight. Oh yeah, for real. If they ship, they would be stronger. They should ship each other. People love the gays. So here, continuing on, this person says, and use what they have said to blackmail you and silence your friends who will want to defend you. They'll watch you in real time. If anyone sympathizes and say, I hate False, he should X, they will screenshot it and imply it is a threat. We have proof in video form that False threatens people and they stand up for themselves. He'll make an elaborate hit piece sharing anything his spies have dug up for him, which works to his advantage. His spies support his narratives to create fake backlashes. He uses this to add pressure and show how hellish he can make a person's life. After his first hit piece, he will threaten a second if you do not agree to post a statement he has prepared for you. VTubers, you need to be outraged and afraid of his purple bastard because this could happen to any of you. I have advised the VTubers I am connected with to be wary of anyone in their communities that profess themselves to be a false fan and or exist within his Discord. I will also give additional advice on how to deal with covert abusers as I have learned in a corporate setting. False speaks in unclear terms and expects the target to read between the lines. You must ask him to be very clear and specific in what his goals are, what he intends to do. Otherwise, he will use the words to confuse and control the direction of your replies, so he may trick you into confessing to something wrongfully, which will create further blackmail material. Be short with your replies and do not react to his provocations or argue back. Document everything because he will delete it. It is very late at night, and as such, I will be closing replies. There are many who do not seem to understand that a journalist should not leverage their platform as a power move to shame a smaller creator. 17 minutes to break down a person and do a call to arms because they do not instantly relent and cower at covert threats. That is not news. That is a hit piece. I saw many big names in my notification, which give me peace of mind. You will continue to share this in private and prepare others in the future should he target them. Adding this post since it is needed here. Akka was once a mod for False. That is easy to confirm and many like me will remember. My apologies as I will need to repost this so others can have more context to my previous post. It is not investigation they do, it is secret policing. Can confirm people in this community are basically every other VTuber community. Some of them will send screenshots, things said in other discords and send them to him. It's not like vetted people, it's just randoms in his community who go so-and-so is bad-mouthing False in their Discord, then either post proof or False ask them for them to DM them with proof. It used to be a bit different in how it felt. It was never really about going at people unless they're like Poppy the Lich level bad. Now it's just a scare tactic. We are in your community. We are in your Discord. Don't talk about False or he will find out. I didn't call it policing. Nobody's telling people to do it. I don't think False has ever directly called for it or anything. Well, I think it's bad faith towards the community. Don't make it bigger than it needs to be. And you know what? I think she's so right for this. But okay, so my thoughts on this seems extremely paranoid. I do think there is some validity here with the whole False does have a lot of fans who will probably infiltrate other Discords and essentially relay back that, hey, this person in this Discord community or this VTuber in this Discord community fucking hates you, and will send that to him. I am not surprised if that happens, honestly, because that's just the nature of when you have a large fan base that was built on drama in your Discord and other Discords. And like, if they obviously like False, which they do, or if they just simply want to see the world burn, so they relay it to him anyway. If False only listens to these people for his research, it might cause a sense of biases where he thinks that everything is worse than it actually is. Because if he thinks that, like, oh, well, this happened, so therefore this entire community hates me, that is where the issue, in my opinion, is with listening to people who will be like, hey, this person fucking hates your ass. Yeah, I guess because, like, based on his historical methods of essentially just revealing stuff from people's Discords, people's DMs, this is what happens when you try to quote unquote be a journalist or a news reporter, and then you do shit like this. Where you show a screenshot. Technically, this is not breaking anything, because as far as I know, her Discord is public. As far as I know. I could be corrected on that later. I don't know. But doing stuff like this without other people, like, you know, without giving her a chance to, like, talk about it or something, kind of whack. I personally, when I do my coverages of things, I will always keep things to what can be discussed in a setting, rather than, like, I will never ever encourage me or others to go to other people's Discords to find dirt, because I think that's weird. It just feels morally bad to me. Because it's like, I'm trying to actively dig up shit on a person so I can shit on them more, is what it sounds like is happening. I don't vibe with that personally, because if anything, all the evidence I need to see of a person being a shitty person, it can be wherever I found their initial, this person was a shitty person, you know? I think if you sick your fans, or even just not discouraging your fans to send you these things from other people's Discords about criticisms that they have of False, or even just, like, you know, people who say, like, oh, like if any of you decide to be like, hey, this one big VTuber said that, like, they hate you, they think you're a stinky pee-pee poo-poo butthole, Saph, and I'm like, okay. And you know, it's like, what do you want me to do with this information? Make a video on it to be like, oh, this person called me a sticky pee-pee poo-poo butthole. Like, okay, everyone's allowed to have their opinions. That if they don't like me, that's fine. It just probably means if you don't like me, I don't like you. Well, what's the issue? When he leaked DMs for you and Silvi? Yeah, when he leaked DMs, because I don't think he asked for it if that was permission. And I know if you are in contact with somebody, you should ask before you use their DMs in a video, unless, of course, it's like you're trying to cancel them or something. But, like, that leads to the question of, why would you cover this in the first place in a video and reveal those DMs if not trying to essentially tell your fans to be like, hey, this person's a piece of shit for criticizing me? You know, I think that's fucked up. I think that's super messed up. I do think there's some validity to this thread, but I do think it's a little bit too much in the I hate False and you should only, like, fear False and, like, his fans. And it's like, no. Calm down. It's not a big deal. I do think there is some good tips that they have left here, that if False ever reaches out to you, treat it like a corpo treat it like everything that you say can and will be used against you. You should treat it like that. Because if he revealed his DMs with Silvi just off the bat, you know, kind of fucked up, you know. Unless she explicitly gave permission, but I did not see that. I don't think in this case, though, I don't think False asked for permission. He just did it, which is kind of fucked up. But hey, you know, I'm not the one saying that I'm a journalist or a news reporter. So, you know, I do whatever I want to do. But apparently, I might have more journalistic integrity than him. Even though I'm not a journalist. I'm not a researcher. I'm not a news reporter. But apparently, I have better morals. I don't know. Wait, is False a bad guy? I'm confused. So, yes and no. False has done good. He exposes bad, corrupt corpos, but he also does things that I think are not befitting of a good TM person. Because when you make a 17-minute, 30-second segment on one person who criticized you, and admittedly Silvi has an attitude towards False. I understand she has an attitude towards False. I get it. I get why he wouldn't like her, because she fucking hates him, which is fine, you know. But in my opinion, if this is how you treat someone who criticizes you, and that you make a 17-minute 30-second video segment on this person who criticized you, that's a little extreme, dude. Especially because all this happened on Twitter and he brought it over to YouTube with his 179,000 subscribers. False could have done better by not doing this. And then since he did this, all the false haters are like, watch out, guys, his fans are gonna do this to you too if you ever talk shit about him. And like, there's some validity with this too. And my only take is just, everyone needs to stop being a butthole. That's really about it. This community is so stupid, you guys. I'm being real. How am I just getting too old? Am I just getting, because I swear I see people do this and I'm like, what are you? In high school? It's just the fact that he has a huge platform and no one wants to talk about it, because he has and will use his platform to essentially try to counter cancel you. If you try to cancel him, he will counter cancel you with whatever he got. But no one, in my opinion, Silvi wasn't even canceling him. She just had a little bit of an attitude and just wanted him to credit her. And then if he just said, hey, we credited to you on YouTube, you know, and all these fun things, he would have still got backlash because he has a significant amount of people who don't like him on Twitter. But at least, you know, he wouldn't have done this, which makes people even more worried about it, because this doesn't look good. This entire segment, this entire video does not look good for him. If he thinks this is a good idea, it's a shitty idea. Because any normal person would be like, why? Why did you have to put this person on blast just because they criticized you over literally forgetting to put her in the credits? Like, yeah, she had an attitude. Yeah, she doesn't like you. So what? People don't like everybody in the VTuber scene. There's a lot of people I don't like in the VTuber scene. And like, at most, I just leave them alone because they leave me alone. So why does it matter? And even if someone out there winds up being a Saph hater in the future, or already is, and is like, Saph fucking apparently doesn't 100% agree with False, oh my god, you should go cancel her. I will literally be, so what? I'm not hurting False for criticizing something that he did that seems to me morally a little fucking weird. I would never go out here and make a hit piece to essentially antagonize somebody who decides to criticize me if all they had to say was, hey, Saph, you forgot to put this one credit in. Oh, okay, I'll fucking do it. Even if they hate my guts, I'll be like, okay, you are valid there. Or just ignore it. He has such a big platform, he can ignore it. The Silvi wasn't going to make a dent in his YouTube platform because YouTube and Twitter are separate. I've learned this. YouTube people are very different from Twitter people. There is very minimal overlap here. There is some overlap, but it's very, very, very minimal. So, that's my opinion. False haters are kind of funny though. Because like, I can't imagine 10,000 likes on this. It's just because to me it seems a little paranoid. That's it. But I do think there is some validity out here, you know. but I don't think you should go like demonize everybody who's a false fan or whatever. And if you have things to hide that you don't want false to see, make a dedicated channel with people you trust. I don't know. Or just be okay with being like, yeah, you know, if he has a problem with it, fuck it. Because like, I wouldn't be afraid because I have said nothing wrong. I don't hate false, but I also don't vibe with him either 100%. I don't think he's a perfect person, but I do admire the stuff that he does. So, you know, I think it's because I don't put things so much on black and white as so many people on Twitter tend to do. A lot of people tend to be like, oh, you're only good, or oh, you're only bad. I can see the good and bad, but some people just lean more towards the bad, more towards the good, and sometimes they're just in the middle because I'm like, yeah, you kind of fuck up sometimes. Yeah, like Silvi should have DM'd him for sure. She did what she did, and then I think False overreacted to the situation and put her on blast when honestly all he could have done is just post it on Twitter instead. But you know, he doesn't want to do that because how are you gonna get those clicks? How are you gonna get that nice sweet ad revenue without causing a little bit of drama? You know? That's why also like it, you know, I say this. I'm someone who currently I am unemployed. YouTube is my full-time job of sorts, but I don't ever want to lose my integrity for the sake of views, clicks, and money. I don't vibe with that, so that's just me though. Okay, hold on. I want to read this open letter to False because I think this is really funny. This is by Synph as well, by the way, who made that really long thread, being like, don't trust False and his fans. Anyway, an open letter to False ID. Dear False, play nice with the other VTubers. You rely on them for your news, so respect them. They are not anime characters with stories to be exploited. They are humans. When you deliberately seek your fans to hurt them, they consider hurting themselves. You isolate them and make others afraid to support them, lest they endure the same. You have the power and influence to end lives, not only careers. You attempt to make others take responsibility, but you do not act responsible yourself as a journalist. At what point did you start collecting screenshots of what others said about you in other communities? At what point did that become an acceptable task for your fans to carry out? Were you always this paranoid? Or was it only after you started exploiting and hurting others that you started to fear you could lose it all? Clean up your community. Clean up your act. You are an adult, so put on your pants and go check your ego. If a smaller creator criticizes you, that is not an excuse to go scorched earth and crush them. But if you are going to threaten someone, at least have some pride and do it directly instead of using weasel words. You had no issue showing off your threats on screen in your hit piece, and that is true. That is true. What's funniest is you showed everyone the pathetic, slimy way you go about threatening others now. How are you this frightened of other people when you're the one with the power to end careers? Behave yourself, False. We are all watching and waiting for the next time. Tiffany. Some of these wordings aside, there is some truth that I agree with here. Simply in the whole, he should have ignored the criticism. He should not have made a video on it. But in his video, he did show a segment in there where he basically was like, hey, by the way, Silvi, there's this you should go make a statement on it. And then Silvi responded in a way that was kind of not, you know, she wasn't wrong in what she said, that technically she doesn't control what other people do, and that she did not encourage it in the first place. So like her making a statement on it seems a little unnecessary, especially because if for all we know, it could be one troll, one dedicated super duper false hater, one person who knows that this will rile somebody up. So it all seems kind of like unnecessary in my opinion, because if it was like, you know, from her fan base, from her Discord or whatever, that'd be one thing, but this was literally just some rando on Twitter, you know? So I think there's some truth there that False shouldn't have exactly threatened her like that in some ways, and then should not have made the video on her. 17 minutes, by the way. So yeah, there's some things here, but also I don't think this open letter is gonna do anything, but maybe it got on his radar. If not, hey, if there's any false people out here, put this on his radar if it's not already on there. /J, don't do that. Anyway, that's the False. This only had 1K last I checked it, so now it has 2.3K, but it also doesn't have 1 million views, but that's still kind of whack, you know? Also, this person said this, which I thought was interesting. He started he started to shift his target to Niji En after he got called out for picking a certain Nephilim so much. I'm assuming it's not me because this preceded me. So is this Iris? Did he shit on Iris a lot? That I don't. That I'm not familiar with. Oh my god, it's you? Yeah, no way. False was targeting me? Oh. But the only other Nephilim that I know of is Iris, so... But I don't recall any of these. Did he used to like shit on like Cover Corp for a while before Niji Sanji? That's interesting if so. Saph, you're famous? No way.